Get ready to start jumping up and down like idiots.
I may not be the world's greatest lover, but 17th place isn't half bad.
It's Madamus of the Back Library, former Cosmic Defender turned archive curator, streaming throughout every week. Retro and modern game stream. Watch him fail. Yapping stream. He'll call you pretty. Karaoke stream. Prepare your ear holes. Movie and TV watch-along stream. Definitely not infringing copyright. Definitely. Bonus gorilla stream. Watch them for Harambe. If you don't watch live, Chibi Madamus will cry. Is that not enough? If you don't watch live, the dinosaurs will go extinct again.
Don't blame me, I did not authorize any of this.
Plus, why watch Madamus of the Back Library for free when you can pay for it?
I'd like to talk to you about our special financing options.
YouTube channel memberships starting at one incredibly low price.
less than all your favorite prescription drugs.
And Madamus will moan the name of anyone who becomes a member live.
Wait, what?
New schedule posted weekly on X and YouTube. Go read it.
Back that up. What's this about moaning?
All streams scheduled in Eastern Time, God's favorite time zone.
When did I ever agree to moan every member's name?
Always streaming horizontal, never vertical, just the way you like it.
Quit changing the subject.
Follow, subscribe, like, watch, do the things, have the fun.
Okay, fine, as long as I'm getting paid.
Madamus of the Back Library.
Greetings, brohams, what the dealio? Welcome to the Back Library. I'm Madamus, former Cosmic Defender turned archive curator. Hail to the chat. Welcome in David Romig Jr. Welcome in Twin Opinion. Welcome in Judd. Anyone else who's currently watching, welcome in. If you're lurking, thank you for lurking. VOD watchers, thank you for watching the VOD. It does help with the algorithm. Like, subscribe, notification bell, follow on Twitter. Do the things, have the fun, win the game. Woo! Oh my gosh. Welcome in, everyone. Yeah, it's Friday. We made it, I think. I don't know if we made it. I mean, tomorrow's Saturday, so I guess we'll know tomorrow if we really made it. Wow, dark a little bit. Oh boy, it's just gonna be a chill stream tonight. We'll do a little bit of YAAAP. Looking forward to resting tomorrow, resting my throat tomorrow and Sunday and until, you know, Monday evening if possible. It's just going to be a chilled stream tonight. Oh, Megs, welcome in. I hope you are having a good night as well. Oh, man, we'll yap about a few things tonight before we get started on the movie. Tonight's just going to be a simple watch-along. Nothing fantastic, nothing special, except that it's a Chuck Norris movie. We're doing this because of his untimely passing. Darn, it's still, you know, that's one of those ones that it's still kind of hard to believe. I mean, you know, it's one of those, you put into, everyone dies. But that was one of those ones that you really did not expect, you know, to happen until, all his movies are special. Yes, yes. Oh, although there are a few that are, I gotta admit, I'm thinking of one. I'm thinking of one that's special for all the wrong reasons. So there's a movie called Breaker Breaker. I've got a DVD of Breaker Breaker. I have never been able to finish it. I swear it's one of his earliest things. It's the pre-mustache Chuck Norris, no mustache, which is fine. There are some of his pre-mustache movies that are great. I tell you, Breaker Breaker is borderline unwatchable. I don't know how that happened. It's like about a truck driver going through some no-name town where it's like all the crazies have taken over it or something. Because I know who's in it? George Murdoch is in it, which is a name I only recognize from like Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek V. And he plays like some weird judge who has a clown puppet on his hand. It's just bizarre, man. And now I'm thinking, you know, we should have done a watch along of Breaker Breaker. Maybe if you're watching it as a group, it's a so bad it's good thing. Sort of like Arnold Schwarzenegger with Hercules in New York, which I love. Man, Hercules in New York. If you've never seen that Schwarzenegger gym, oh, you need to take the time. And you can watch it twice because there are 2 audio tracks for the movie. At the time, the producers decided that Arnold Schwarzenegger was unintelligible, so they dubbed his voice. So you got 2 versions of the audio if you ever see Hercules in New York. You got Do It Right. Meow, change, give us the courage. No, I don't want change. I don't want change. I really love this movie. I'm going to do it. We'll do Breaker at some point. We will. In fact, I'm going to write it down right now. Oh, by the way, Omegs, I did install Listery. I haven't started using it much, but I started giving it a once-over. I did install it. So thank you very, very much for that. It looks like it's really, really going to come in handy. The only thing I need to tweak with it is the hotkey for pressing the control twice. I know you could change it to other buttons, but you can't set them up for twice. I was hoping to set it up with like because I use a full-size keyboard still. I was going to set it up with the pause button twice, but it'll only let me do it once. But when am I going to use the pause button on my keyboard? It doesn't even seem to do anything. It doesn't seem to pause anything. Maybe it paused the whole world around me. I didn't realize it. Oh, yeah, the Schwarzenegger. Man, we should do a watch-along of that. If you've never seen it, chat, the audio. Yeah, so you got two versions of Schwarzenegger in it. You've got Schwarzenegger with his original audio where it's just unintelligible. Lauren, welcome in. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful night. My last post, oh, let me back this up. My last post didn't go through all well. It's just a Chuck Norris joke. You know, David, I don't know what's going on. YouTube across the board, across the channels, is eating people's chats. I don't know why. I would suggest if it keeps up, send them feedback. It might be something hooked to accounts. I don't get it. But welcome in, Lauren. By the way, chat, if you have not checked out the channel for Lauren and TB Delaval, be sure to give them a look-see, give them a subscribe. They do fantastic content. I know Lauren's been playing a lot of Lies of P, which is such a cool-looking game. And of course, anytime he does art stream stuff with Dreams on PlayStation, Dreams is such an amazing program. I wish that was available on more platforms, because that's like Emote Lab. It's one of those hidden gem tools for streamers, except unlike Emote Lab, no one knows about it but Lauren. Well, I mean, I'm sure other people know about it, but not many. Let me see. What do we got? Lies of P is an amazing game. 10 Souls-like. Yeah, it looks cool, and I love the story of it. I just love what I've seen of the story of it, too. It's just really such a... It's weird because it's unique, but in the same breath, it's not unique. So it just is, it's exactly what you're looking for. What else I missed? Nice glasses. Thank you. I figured we're doing a movie, so I might as well put on the 3D glasses. You know, Lauren, I created these for a bit. For one of those hype videos, sort of like the one that I sent for TB for her birthday, and to Aiko for one of her anniversary things. I created them for just a snippet at the end of it, just because I was trying to figure out something to put in there. And then when I sent it to the person, it wasn't even what they were looking for. I love them to death, but they were looking for like something serious, not like something like a funny hype thing. So I was like, okay, let me just, I'll go back and send an and I love you type thing instead. So yeah, I kept the glasses at least. At least they still come in handy every once in a while. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been enjoying Lies of P a lot. Yeah, and I have finally started to see, Lauren, you were the first person I saw streaming it. Now, that's not to say you're the first person in the history of YouTube who ever streamed the game, but you're the first person I saw streaming it, and now it seems like some others are starting to catch on, because I've seen some other people starting to stream it now, and I look at that, it's like, oh, well, Lauren got there first. If you're not first, you're last. Ha! For me, Lies of P is the future of Souls-like. It plays so well. It looks like it plays amazing. It's one of those things that I look at and I feel like, oof, man, I would struggle with a game like this, but it looks so cool. Guess I'm last then. Welcome in, Luciana. Welcome in. Hope you are having a good night. Yes, always copy Lauren. And that goes for Dreams, too. Seriously, I see you, Lauren, using that Dreams, and my my reaction is, why isn't every single streamer and VTuber especially, and their dog who has a PlayStation, using this thing? Because it just seems so versatile and so amazing, just for whether you're just doing, you know, casual art streams or donathon things like you've used it for, or designing backgrounds. It's just, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't with that one. Oh my gosh. Oh, but welcome in everyone. I don't even remember what I was talking. Oh yeah, the Schwarzenegger. Yeah, you got the one unintelligible thing with him. And then you got the dub track for Arnold Schwarzenegger and Hercules in New York. Father Zeus, I cannot imagine why you are sending me to Earth. Both of them just peak. And yeah, we need Dreams on PC, and the VTubers that know about it most of the times is because of me. Yeah. Again, like Liza P, you were the first person I ever heard from. And nice about the glasses. Yeah, it's yeah, it was one of those things. And I don't blame the person. You know what? I'll tell you, time to make a dream short video. That'd be, you know, honestly, Omegs has a point there, Lauren. That would probably make an interesting short, you know, just to pitch to, hey, are you a streamer? Are you looking for something new, useful? Because I know Omegs has suggested I do my take on Emote Lab, which I want to do. I just legitimately have not had the time, and by the time I get to it, everyone will, you know, the newness will have worn off. But yeah, that would probably make an interesting shorts video just to introduce people to it. But then again, maybe you don't want to introduce people because, you know, once the secret gets out, it's like so many things. Once everyone hears about it, then it's just, oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the thing with that, with the other streamer, with the hype thing, I understood their reasoning. And in case they're ever lurking, I want to say I understand it, because apparently, it was a case where they thought it was going to be serious stuff and everyone was sending like a joke type thing. And so, which kind of had them hurt. And I understand that. So I didn't mind. At the time, I didn't realize that. And so what can you do, you know? There needs to be a Hercules experience where it randomizes every line between dubs, so you never know what voice you'll get. You know, that's one of those things that would be a good tool for AI. There, you want something where AI would be really useful. There you go. That's not a bad idea. Stuff like that wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm curious and confused. I thought Way of the Dragon was the best Chuck Norris movie. Way of the Dragon's good. Way of the Dragon's good, but it's more of a... I look at it more of a Bruce Lee movie that Chuck Norris just happens to be in. It's not so much a Chuck Norris vehicle. It's like Expendables 2. Is Expendables 2 a Chuck Norris movie? No, it's a full, you know, ensemble cast movie, which he's sort of pulling up the end as a cameo appearance. Great cameo appearance. In fact, if I remember right, Expendables 2, I could be wrong, but I remember reading a bunch of people pitching a fit because Chuck Norris refused to do it if it had a bunch of swearing. Good for him. Legit. I love that. I love someone, too, having enough stroke where they can make a call like that and actually bend it to where it's actually a decent call. It's not like something stupid, like, you know, well, I'm only gonna do this if you make my character the star, and my character can't die, and I want so much script. No, it's just, hey, I'll do this, but could you guys, you know, cut back a little bit on the verbiage? That's all. Yeah, it's cute. I love it. That was one of those things where it's like, I really love Chuck Norris. I love Chuck Norris, because the truth is, one thing you don't know about me, chat, and I've tried to become better as a streamer. As a lot of you know, streaming, I don't swear. Rarely. There have been a couple times I've slipped. IRL, I really have like been, I used to at least swear like a sailor. And it's one of those things that I've tried to get better at, and VTubing has really helped me getting better at it, because I try to be so conscious that I don't want this stuff recorded on the internet forever, so I don't want to say it. I don't mind saying things that get me in trouble, like the sussy stuff that's a whoops, but other things like that, yeah, I try to, and I feel like VTubing's made me better with that because I've tried to be conscious. And that's nothing against people who do swear like a sailor as a VTuber. That's nothing against them. Everyone has their own brand. It was just a matter of, yeah, one of those things. That just reminded me of that. Weird. Let me back this up a little bit. I've missed a couple of things. Yeah, I want to make a short, making some stuff in dreams. That'd be cool. Or if you want to do it, Omegs, be my guest. Well, I don't know his fees, but Omegs is the master clipper. Whoops, I bumped the mic. Sorry about that. What I miss. Hey, Judd, Lauren, hey, like, like The Rock and Jason Statham putting on their contracts that one couldn't land more punches than the other in their fight. Did Statham do that? Really? Okay, because 100, I can see Dwayne Johnson doing that. I can see Dwayne Johnson doing that. And I hate to say that about Ego and saying, you know, Ego, but I can see that. Because that seems like something a pro wrestler would have even had in a contract. But Statham, that surprises me. That surprises me. Oh my gosh. Always got to get your worst moments. See, yeah, and I think it was mutual. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so stupid, and yet I love that. I'm trying to think. There was one. There have been movies like that before. Who was? Oh my gosh. Fred the Hammer Williamson. I forget what it was, but he used to have in his contract like 3 things that he would always do. And his whole things was his thing he talked about in an interview was he had 3 demands he would always make as an actor. And it was a point that he would make these 3 because he knew if he made the 3, he could at least get 2 of them. One of them would be, I think one of them was that his character would not die. Another one is that his character would get the girl. And I think the other one he would put in there was, I don't know, maybe it was something like he wouldn't be the villain or something like. He would always put I'd have to look it up, but there were 3 stipulations he used to put in. And his thing was, it was a negotiating thing for his part, because by having these 3, he could always be assured that he could get 2 of them. So I forget what movie was it that he talked about that on? I think the movie where he talked about it, there was an interview for on the Blu-ray with him of That Man Bolt. There's a random movie for you. Danny Trejo puts on his that if he portrays a villain, he has to die on screen. Fair enough. Because you know what, really fair enough, because a good death scene is something most actors want. A good memorable death scene, you know? You got to really like the nickname. Oh, the Hammer. I guess that came from his football days. He used to play football. He was a football player turned actor. Fred Williamson was really. So he did so many movies that were exploitation, unfortunately. But he's one of those names that was. There was a time when everyone knew who he was. Just like you know who Chuck Norris is, just like people knew who Charles Bronson was, or John Wayne, or Van Damme. People knew who Fred Williamson was, even though he was relegated to these B-movie, more exploitation-y things, because, you know, it's one of those things, black actor in the 1970s, you kind of get stuck with that. Like Jim Brown. Everyone knew who Jim Brown was. Jim Brown had a few A-list movies, like Ice Station Zebra, but then he got stuck in the exploitation films, which everyone remembers. Well, a lot of people remember, like Slaughter and Slaughter's big ripoff. Let's see what we got here. He says it's because he wants the children to see that villainy doesn't pay. Well, I like that reason too. That's a good reason. That's a good moral reason. I still like the having a death scene, but that's a good moral reason. Greg the Hammer Valentine as well. You remember him? I do remember the name. I can't picture him, Judd, but I remember the name. I know he's on some of my old wrestling DVDs. So yeah, I do remember the name. What else were we talking? Oh, man, you just reminded me too about death scenes. Let's circle this thing around. I guess and this has to do with Michael Eisner and Disney. So I guess one of the things with Star Trek 3 chat, or Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, and I don't want to spoil it. Well, let's just say Mr. Spock kind of, sort of, there was, a lot of people have always heard over the years of Death of Spock. I'll just say that. I hate to spoil things, but people, it's one of those, it's like Darth Vader is Luke's father type thing. Apparently, Michael Eisner didn't want to let Leonard Nimoy direct Star Trek 3, which he directed. Michael Eisner was once the head of Paramount Studios before he became head of Disney. And when he was the head of Paramount, he didn't want to let Leonard Nimoy direct Star Trek 3 because he thought that Leonard Nimoy had demanded in his contract like a death scene for Spock. And Leonard Nimoy had to show up in his office and have him pull the contract and show him, in black and white. There's nothing in there like that. It's just something we talked about. It never had to do anything with the contract thing. It was just the story. So that's one of those things. I feel like that's become sort of an urban legend that Nimoy demanded that. And no, that was never the case. But that reminded me, Michael Eisner. Man, we're circling into a lot of different things. I guess Michael Eisner still hasn't been given like the Disney Hall of Fame treatment. They went ahead and I don't remember what it's called, if it's like Golden Mouse Ears or what. But I guess they've already given Bob Iger like the super Disney Hall of Fame treatment with his resignation, putting him in, the Hall of Legends for Disney, even though he's, helped burn it to the ground. But Michael Eisner still has never been given it. And I think that's really a shame because you can say what you want about Michael Eisner and a lot of his business practices and a lot of his sleazy dealings, maybe, arguably. But he pulled Disney back from the brink. There was a whole period where Disney could have gone bankrupt, and Eisner made the moves that kept it afloat. So I really feel bad for him. I feel bad that he sort of has this almost business villain status while Bob Iger is hailed as some patron saint. What did Bob Iger do? He just bought a bunch of stuff and then ruined it all. Changed my mind. A couple other things I wanted to talk about, chat. Did y'all see about the prices going up on the PlayStation, on the PS5? So I guess Sony is raising prices depending on model of PS5 between $100 and $200 a unit. Okay, I get the thing about components right now being scarce because of the AI bubble boom, whatever. And everyone's buying up the RAM and the CPUs and the GPUs and everything. Okay, I get that. But correct me if I'm wrong, chat. The PS5, isn't it 5 years old now? Isn't it already 5 years old? Once upon a time, when Madamus was a little Madamus, the older a console got and was still active in stores, the more it, yeah, that's nuts. I did not see the pricing. Oh yeah, Sony's jacking them up, $100 to $200 on the PS5, which my thought, PS6 is set to come out to markets in 2028 last time I saw it. Yeah, so they're trying to, I guess, make a bunch of money at the tail end. When I was a kid, as a system's lifespan drew towards its end, its price usually went down. Like, I mean, you can look at GameCube. GameCube wasn't really drawn towards its end, but it went down. Nintendo, oh wow, by 200. Yeah, depending on the model. That is insane. Yeah, it's 5 years old. Yeah. I don't get it. Even to me, even the components, The increased price of components doesn't justify that. That you can use the increased price of components, I think, for not lowering the price. But as a console nears the end of its normal lifespan, they usually go down. They used to go down. Now, years ago, chat. Welcome in, Mahese. Welcome in. I hope you are having a good night. We're just doing a little yap before we get to the movie. We're talking about the deal with Sony jacking up PlayStation 5 prices $100 to $200 depending on the model, even though it's a 5-year-old console, which makes no sense. But yeah, when Madamus was younger, I remember when prices... Good day. Oh yeah, that's right. It's day. Yes. Yes. Time zones. Happy time zone. I remember prices used to go down, and things used to also be different when I was a little Madamus. Nowadays, once a console's life is done, they ship it back to the manufacturer for recycling or whatever. Decades ago, it didn't used to be that way. Not decades. I'm not a boomer. Not decades. No, not decades. I am not a boomer. Whoops, slip of the tongue. Definitely not. Yeah, well, no, not a boomer. No. Bad wording. Everything's cool. When I was a little Madamus, we'll just put it that way again. When I was a tiny Madamus, they didn't used to ship consoles back to the manufacturer. They used to stay in the stores, and the stores would eventually clearance them. The stores were stuck with them, and eventually they would clearance them to get rid of them. But that sort of changed because now it's like they're always property of the manufacturer, and it's almost like leased store space. And so eventually then it goes back to the manufacturer, and the stores don't have much control over the pricing, from what I know, or at least they've got to clear it all. But they're saying the PS6 might cost $1,000. Well, okay, here's my opinion on that, Luciano. And I could be totally wrong. Hypothetically, at this point, I would rather buy a modded PS Vita. At this point, I'd rather buy a lot. Honestly, if I had to pick, if I'm going to pay the price they want now, I'll buy a Switch 2. I'll buy a Switch 2. And I don't want a Switch 2. I don't want a Switch. But I would buy a Switch 2 before I'd buy probably a PS5. And I'm not a Sony hater. I just don't like that. But as far as $1,000 for the PS6, hypothetically, let's say the Steam machine, let's say the Gabe Cube winds up being $1,000 USD. I think, and y'all can disagree with me if you want, I think if they come out about the same time and the Steam machine and the PS6 are priced the same, I think Sony gets spanked. I think Sony gets spanked hard, especially if the Gabe Cube is really fully functional PC where you can load in your own PC games from other sources, even the I'll say it, trash Epic Games Store. I'd rather get a PC for that 1,000K. Yeah, 1K, yeah, I'd buy the PC. I'd buy the Steam machine, or I'd build one myself if you can afford to build one yourself. Man, I look at the prices of my PCs right now, and if I were to build those today, the ones I use for streaming, I'd be hosed. I mean, I could make it, I'd have to tighten my belt. That would probably be the best. 1,000 USD will get you 1 RAM. Yeah, what? Yeah. Do you know how much 1K can buy in Vietnam? A really fancy part. Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. You know, currency exchanges are such a weird thing, aren't they? Currency exchanges are such a weird thing, and yet meanwhile, like 1,000K will buy you less in England. I mean 1K will buy you less because just from my shopping on eBay with the exchange rates, it's a funny thing. Nice. I wish I could buy an apartment for that. I'll take it. Man, 1K in the U.S. now. You're gonna be lucky if you can find man 1K. I don't know how much you pay anymore for like a studio apartment. That's good. World's gone nuts. Housing's gone. Man, we're going off on tangents, aren't we? We're going off on too many tangents. Yeah, but Sony, yeah, so Sony's jack up the price, and that's stupid. And one thing that I thought was funny, too, is I've seen a few people tweeting out online trying to claim some of the, I think they're living in their own brains. There are some people online who have been tweeting out like shots of Switch 2s that are for sale used in game stores, talking about how people are trading in their Switch 2s because they'd rather buy a PS5 at this point. And I'm just thinking that's not true. It's just not true. The people who are buying Switch 2s for the most part are not selling them off. People who are buying PS5s aren't really selling them off. They're not deciding I'd rather have one than the other. I don't see that as going on right now. They're mostly sticking to what they picked. Unless they're an Xbox fan, then they just don't know where to go. I'm curious, did you play Life is Strange? I don't know if it's on GOG. It's a really good game. I think I've heard of it. I might have it on GOG. I'd have to check. Let me check. I might already have it. I messed up my window. Just one moment. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, they've still got their spring sale going on GOG. Unlike Steam. I missed the Steam sale. Life is Strange. I wonder if I've got this. Oh. I don't have it, but yeah, it is on, I see that. Okay, from Enix. No, I've never played it. I thought it was something else. I have never played it. Huh, it kind of looks like, there's a point-and-click one that this is reminding me of. I can't think of the name of it. No, I haven't played it. I'll keep that one in mind. If it winds up dropping to the prices that I usually do for digital, I'll keep that one in mind. Thank you, Judd. Emulation is the future of gaming. I feel like that. Let me back this up. So much. Switch 2 is poopy, but it's not to the point they have to exchange it to the PS5. Yeah. I feel like at this point, if you spent the money on the Switch 2, you're not looking to exchange it. Even if you're not happy with it, you're not looking to say, well, I'm trading it in for the PS5. This isn't the days of, oops, I bought the Atari 7800 instead of the NES. It's time to see about getting an NES. Switch and PS5 are very different demographics. Exactly, Luciano. The people who buy... Now, I do think there is crossover. There is crossover. But, like with me, there would be crossover. You look at some of the stuff I play. But yeah, no, totally agree. I totally agree. First RAM I bought was two 8-megabyte DIMMs for my new bus power Mac. I never had a Mac. I tripled my memory for $500. Wow. And that was after prices had dropped a decent amount. I don't want to go back to those prices. Yeah, and I feel like that's where we're kind of at, just with a different amount on it now because, 8 megabytes isn't the norm, but 16 megabytes is kind of the norm, and now you're going to be paying you're going to be paying probably that for DDR5, 16 gigabyte, excuse me, not megabyte, gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM, DDR5, that sounds like that price, and I hate it. Switch games are more childish and party-like, and that's always been a thing with Nintendo, Luciano. You look back at the NES was kind of okay. Once we moved past Super Nintendo, but Super Nintendo was always catering more family, while Sega Genesis was more like the system for adults. It was more like the Genesis was there for, okay, you've outgrown the Nintendo, and Super Nintendo was like for the next generation of gamers, the more little kids. And N64, more childish and more party games. GameCube, more so. Wii, hell of a lot. Wii U, probably. I didn't follow the Wii U. So yeah, makes sense. Emulation's the future of gaming. And I agree. As much as I love original hardware, I agree, Omegs. But we're seeing it really with so many publishers themselves embracing it. As much as they condemn it, they embrace it for their own products. You look at Capcom with their Mega Man collections. Those are not, I'm sorry, those aren't ports. They're emulated copies. They are emulated copies. They didn't go through and port it. They didn't redraw it and recoat and they didn't make the engine a PC version of the engine and maybe copy the artwork. No. Now, a lot of the stuff on GameCube, they did. Those Mega Man collections on GameCube, as far as I know, those are not emulation. Well, I think they're somewhere in between. I don't know, because there's some weirdness with Mega Man 7 on GameCube. Future, it never left. Yeah, emulation is just coming back since gaming is getting expensive. Yeah. I'd rather get an emulated PS Vita that played Nintendo games than old retro games. Yeah. No, I understand that. Speaking of PS Vita, what could have been. I've heard there are so many Vita fans out there, Mahese. I hear so many people, because I never had one, but I have seen so many comments and heard so many people talk about that being the little system that should have been. And so, yeah. I really like how much people are improving the user interface of emulation. Yeah. Creating it to be more community-based, like with retro achievements. Yeah, and I also like, I like the streamlining. So my problem with emulation over the years is I don't want something where I have to fiddle. I want something where I can have it set up in like an interface in a front end without having to like pick the name of a ROM, where I can have something like a Steam grid setup, you know? Where you click on the picture of a button of the game and it just plays. And it plays flawlessly. And that's my number one thing with emulation. This is what's held me back with emulation. Even with things like the Retron 5. My standard for emulation is really high. I want it to play everything as perfectly as the original hardware or better. And I know I want 100% compatibility of a specific console. Like, for instance, I just have this hang-up. If I were to play emulated NES games and it turned out there was one game that didn't play right, it would kind of ruin mentally for me. I'm weird like this, okay? It's I guess, I don't know what the name, we'll just call it a form of OCD generically. If one game is screwed up, it affects my opinion of every other game that's being emulated through that, for that console, for that system. That's why Sonic fandom, let me back this up, is so, wait, what? Oh, what, with the community achievements? Or with the retro, wait, okay, what is? Future, we never left expensive again, that's why Sonic fandom is so weird. Really? Okay, I don't get it. I don't get it, like, because of the emulation. Things like Isu. Oh, yes, we looked at that on stream. Really will make things easier for everyone. Yes, I hope it's possible for Isu to become a PC OS. PS Vita was big in Japan. It's the reason Switch is made to be handheld. Really, that's interesting. I thought that. See, and Luciano, I thought the Switch was made to be handheld because, and I wonder if this didn't feed into it too, was because the Game Boy series by Nintendo was always such a massive success. Even when like GameCube was struggling, Game Boy was always their big hit. Nintendo had always done really, really well with the handheld market, you know? Except for the Virtual Boy, but that's really not handheld. Vita was destined with greatness, but damn it, born in the time of mobile games are dominating and Sony being a greedy bastard back then. Gotcha. Is that what happened? That's unfortunate. I'm curious, what is, in your opinion, is Nintendo Switch 2 a hit or a miss? You think they can do a Switch 3? I don't see a Switch 3 happening for... I'm gonna call it, Judd. I don't think Switch 2 is gonna happen or Switch 3 is gonna happen for a decade. I don't think Switch 3 is gonna happen for a decade, Judd, because I don't think there's gonna be any appetite for it. I think the price of the Switch 2 has made it where there's no appetite for it. Do I think it's a hit or a miss? I think it's too early to tell. I have seen so many, I've read things that have said about it being a hit. I've read things that it's being a miss. And I think it's too early to tell. My thing on Switch 2 is, let's see where it is in 2 years. Let's see where it is 2 years from launch. 2 years from launch, if it's stagnating, then I'm gonna say then obviously it's a miss. But yeah, I'm gonna give it 2 years to figure it out, because I don't know. That too, Nintendo 3D. Let me back this up. A Nintendo 3DS sold even more than the Vita in Japan. Really? Japan has huge commute time. Yes. And a lot of gaming is done held there because of it. Yeah. And with their commute times in Japan, where it's much more public transportation, it's not like you're driving a car. It's, you know, here in the States, except for little kids sitting in the back of the car, you can't do that and drive. Well, you shouldn't. I'm sure someone's tried it. And yeah, lives were lost, probably. Nintendo DS line was truly peak. Probably the best handheld ever. See, and I never played any DS stuff, but I'll take your word for it. That's where, y'all know that I kind of ducked out. The Switch itself was okay at best, but why do we need a Switch 2? It's like remaking Super Metroid when it already... It's already a perfect Metroid game. See, now, Super Metroid, I'm going to be honest, I'd like to have a better map system with Super Metroid. I'd like to have something give me a little more direction like you had in Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission, which is why I enjoyed playing those more, is because at least I felt like I knew more where to go. But it is a great game. I'd love to play through. I want to play through all the Metroids I've got on stream someday. I might go out of my way and buy a 3DS. Yeah, I hear good things about the 3DS all the time. As for the Switch 2, why do we need a Switch 2? Because Nintendo was ready for an update. Nintendo felt the market was waiting for an upgrade. And maybe they were right. I just think... Where I think the Switch 2 has gone wrong, I think it has gone wrong with the key cards for games. I think it has gone wrong with I understand with online stuff and with download stuff, but I think it's gone wrong by going the same route as so many other consoles, as having stuff just downloadable. I mean, like big titles with the key cards, or if you buy a physical copy of the game, you still have to download the other half of the game. I think that's where it's gone wrong, because Nintendo is killing the collectability factor. And Nintendo was one of those companies you could always count on for the collectability factor. And it feels like that's now lost. I think they also have made a mistake with the price point. And to me, that means if they needed to skimp on the hardware a little more to make it more affordable and just give people a better Switch experience, but not an upgraded Switch experience, but not with a massively upgraded price, I think they'd be in better shape. That's where I stand. I don't like the price point for a system that I look at as a family-oriented system. Again, more of a different audience, the more family and kids audience, and B, the collectability. Yeah, that's where I am on that. I think Nintendo 2 was to right some wrongs with the first version. Yeah, it had quite a few issues out of the box. Yeah, and see, that's where I feel like Omegs, if they would have... if Switch 2 would have been just an affordable upgrade, if it would have upgraded just some stuff, fixed some of those major bugs that it had out of the box, just offered an upgraded Switch experience, and at a price point that was much more affordable, at the price point where Sony, sort of like the GameCube. Why did the GameCube did not do great initially? What made it do well? What made it do well was the price. It was the price. Once Nintendo lowered it to what was seen as a better family price point, bam. Welcome in, Agnes. Welcome in. I'll read your comment in a moment. What is going to happen is remote play becoming... Oh, let me back this up. There's so much remote play becoming more and more common with the internet speed increasing with 6G. True. Remote play will feel just like wired play. Yeah, that's true. I won't have much excuse anymore for not playing the online games. Switch 2 was the first console that I'm aware of to not utilize Yokoi's, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that, philosophy of lateral thinking with withered technology. They copied every other company and just made a Switch made a more expensive Switch. Yeah, no, I see that. I'm not going to disagree. I'm not sure how I feel about that. No, neither am I. Which is hardest, Contra or Ninja Gaiden? Ooh, that's hard. Okay. Younger me is going to say Contra, because I can say younger me, okay, I never beat either, but I could say younger me could never get past like the second or third level of Contra. Ninja Gaiden, younger me made it all the way to the final boss. But then when that bug in Ninja Gaiden clicks in, which makes it where when you lose at the final boss, it resets you to the start of that level instead of restarting you at the boss. When that bug, which they never corrected with any revisions, when that happened, Little Madamus just kind of, I didn't crash out, but it was just like, I can't do this. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm tired. Madamus is tired. Yeah. So that was, so I'm going to say Contra, because Ninja Gaiden, at least I made it all the way. I made it all the way to the end. I went the distance. Adrian, I went the distance. Didn't win, but I went the distance, Adrian. Switch 2 should have been upgrade. Yep. A trade-in upgrade or a purchasable upgrade. That would have been interesting. Yeah. Chuck Norris, our beast action hero before Schwarzenegger. Indeed, he was before Schwarzenegger. Yeah, that's right. He was doing stuff before Schwarzenegger. Even we talked about Breaker earlier. But Schwarzenegger had that big, giant muscle man, He-Man in the flesh look. It's one of those things. Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, God love him, could have never played Conan the Barbarian. Conan the Barbarian was written for Schwarzenegger. Now they squandered that part with the sequel. Everyone would have been happy. Yeah, no, I agree. It's sort of like, Omegs, it's amazing. And that makes me think back to the Super Nintendo. To me, I think the biggest mistake was with the original Super Nintendo was Nintendo not doing backwards compatibility. If people would have seen the Super Nintendo as being an upgrade of their Nintendos, I don't think you would have had, because you look back at the news articles and you had all sorts of parents and everything yelling and screaming because we're having to buy this one system. We have to buy a whole new system for this one game. I think if it would have been a case if it had been just an upgrade and it plays all your old stuff plus the new games, and you didn't have to have two things connected to your TV now, I think that would have gone a long way with consumers. And it sure would make my life easier because my video output on my NES games would look wonderful. Because Super Nintendo has amazing video output. By remote play, I mean using your PC or PS hardware while playing on your phone in the street. Oh, okay. So like the old Steam Link boxes, which I don't even know if they make those anymore. There was that whole thing for a while where Steam was selling these Steam Link. It was like a set-top box to talk to your PC to let you play on your PC, but there was some lag in between. And NES Ninja Gaiden broke my spirit. Yeah, it broke mine with that reset, but at least I made it to the final boss. They're talking about 1 terabyte per second with 6G. That's pretty impressive. I didn't beat any of the two. Yeah, neither did I, Agnes. Well, yep. Chuck Norris also fought Bruce. That's true. Way of the Dragon. He was one of Bruce Lee's students, or I don't know if they were students, but they were certainly on the same level together. Yeah. Can you imagine Chuck Norris as Batman? I'm curious, and just kidding. The truth is, I could see him as, the thing about Chuck Norris is I could see him playing Batman. I can't see him playing Bruce Wayne. I can't see him playing the rich playboy with the jovialness. And the reason I say that is because Chuck Norris, there's at least, I don't remember what movie it was, but one of the directors talked about it, how Chuck Norris would approach the directors and ask for less dialogue. He'd say, hey, can we give my dialogue here to someone else, to this character instead? So Chuck Norris didn't always like to, he didn't like to have the most speaking parts. So, I mean, he spoke fine. He was fine. But I guess he just didn't like, he just liked he wanted his action to carry the movie. Action Jackson is my name. I love how ironic that Nintendo, back in the 80s, they want to go big and go new or go home. Now they are really obsessed with classic consoles. Yeah, and they weren't, you know, they weren't until their audience, I think, started pushing them with it. I think that's what it is. I think it's just that they saw the audience. And it's one of those things, too, unfortunately, they're falling in the trap that Atari fell into. Atari, God love them, fell into, and they're in it, and they're never going to pull themselves out. They can make as many new things as they want. They're never going to pull themselves out of the greatest hits, their greatest hits sort of trap. And that is, you look at Atari, and what do? Every 10 years, we see a new release of their classics. We see, I mean, they put out this brand new 7800, and what does it got? It's got an Asteroids Deluxe instead of Asteroids. Yeah. You look back in time even at Atari. 2600, okay, we've got Asteroids. 5200, okay, we've got Asteroids. 7800, okay, we've got Asteroids. Atari Lynx handheld, okay, we've got Asteroids. I'm surprised there isn't a port on NES, really, because they did release stuff to NES. Judd's so a Southern Batman. That'd be different. Speaking of, I always thought Punch-Out is a Rocky adaptation. I think it was inspired by it. It was certainly inspired by it. Now, Sega did have a Rocky game on Master System. There is a Rocky game on Master System. And there was a Rocky game on GameCube, too. I never played it. Excuse me, I do need to cough, chat. PS2 and 3 were retro-compatible. Yep. PS4 wasn't and lost a lot of market for Xbox. PS4, one of the things that helped PS4... Well, no. I'm thinking of PS3. Never mind. I was going to say was the Blu-ray player, but that was PS3, the Blu-ray player. Even though it had some compatibility issues, which is funny. Everyone always holds up the PS3 as the epitome of Blu-ray players. And I immediately, my brain immediately says, it will not play standard definition Blu-ray. So half of or a third of the discotheque titles are out. PS5 won the console war by being retro-compatible with PS4. Okay, gotcha. So is it even a war anymore? Is it even a war, Luce? Honestly, Luciano, I feel like we haven't had a real war since when Microsoft got in, it didn't feel the same. When it was still Sony versus Sega versus Nintendo, I felt like it was a war. And when it was Sega versus, I feel like the war kind of, I feel like the war, or at least what made the war interesting, kind of died when Sega said, my mom's calling, I gotta go home now. At least that's where I am on the thought on it. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Oh, let me back this up. Man had a chip with spicy sauce. Can't feel my tongue. Oh dear. Well, be careful. I guess drinking milk is what people usually do. I'm not a big milk fan. I'm not a fan. I've said this before on other streams. In fact, it got kind of turned into a short, for better or for worse. I'm not big on the cow juice. Yeah, I shouldn't say it that way, but I did again. I think Jennifer told me not. I think Jennifer told me not to say it that way. Sorry. There's a Rocky game on Switch 2 called Creed Fighters. Oh, is there a Creed one? Okay. See, I wasn't a big fan of the Creed Creed movies. I watched the first one, it was okay, and I never did the second or the third. They just, I don't know. I felt like, I really felt like so many things, I thought the sixth Rocky movie, Rocky Balboa, was a satisfying end. And even looking back, it's amazing how time can change things. Some things. I think Rocky 5 isn't really a bad movie, and it isn't a bad ending. It's just, it was so far removed from what people expected. Everyone was expecting another Rocky movie where he goes into the ring and will he survive? Oh, he's made it. Yay, Rocky. And that's not what it was about. If anything, it was about coming to terms with, your limitations, and then at the very end, pushing back against your limitations and not letting them define you, pushing through those handicaps and still being the best you that you had always been in the past, which is something I think a lot of people really at the time, myself included, missed. When I was a little kid, and I remember watching the Rockies for the first time on the DVD box set and getting to Rocky 5, and just, I didn't hate it, but it was just like, I don't see what was this movie? Why was this here? And now I get it. Older, I get it. Where was I? Nope. Okay, let me back this up. Oh, lurking. Thank you for lurking, Judd. Have a good lurk. We'll start the movie soon, I promise. After that console set, yeah, it just doesn't feel the same to me. But, yeah, I'll buy that. Honestly, I don't feel like we've got a war anymore because Xbox is pretty much checked out. And for me, in my mind, Luciano, going back to what you said, I feel, and going back to something you said earlier, Luciano, I feel like the demographics for Switch and PlayStation 5 are so, I mean, there's crossover, but they're so divided that I don't think there's a war there. They're both just kind of their own thing. It's like saying, you know, watching movies digital versus watching movies physical. It's just different audiences. It's not a war. Here's the thing, huh? Get it? The Thing. I've never played the Thing. I love that Thing. Whoop. The Thing from the Fantastic Four. Nice. But anyways, I wanted a console I want a console that plays older games. Hell, I never want to play AAA FPS games anymore. After I played retro games. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Ooh, thesaurus user. Who, me? If I was, oops. Unless it was someone else in chat. If game's competitive, it's just not fun anymore, and I play games to have fun. It depends. I like some competitive. It just always depends for me. And Super, and Super Metroid give the feeling of achievement. Yeah, for me better than that new gen stuff. I get that. I get that with a lot of the modern games. Star Tropics, I was too burned out by the end of Star Tropics to enjoy my achievement. If you saw the end of that stream, I was just kind of like, well, it's done. But the truth is, yeah, I felt achievement with that. Did you know the turtle that appears on Rocky Stallone still has one? No, I did not know that. I didn't know Cuff or Link were still around. Console war ended when they gave up on backwards compatibility. Yeah, that's a big part of it. With the modern ones, yeah, agree. They all went away from providing a quality console. True. Who would ever want to give up on their game collection? Yeah, truly miss the market. Yeah. Milk equals cow juice. Cow juice. The thesaurus word, thus the reply. Gotcha. Okay, honestly, I could see all of them making a new console that is backwards compatible. I'll tell you, you know, this is going to go back to the emulation thing. There's a console I have from Hyperkin, and I've had two of them because one of them died on me. And it is something that I love and I hate at the same time. There is a console called the Retron 5. It's called 5 because it's got 5 cartridge slots. But this is a console that plays NES, Japanese NES, Famicom, Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and there's an adapter for it where you can also add in Game Gear and Sega Master System. The problem is, it's one of its greatest assets is also its greatest flaw. And that is, it has an Android OS system. It uses cartridges, but it has an Android OS, and it's based in emulation. And the problem is, it is not 100% compatible with all of the systems that can be played through it. It is like 90-something% compatible with each of them. And Hyperkin, once they sold it, they stopped updating it. They sort of got to a certain point with the compatibility and just said, well, that's it. And they got in trouble, too, because they were using a bunch of emulators that are Creative Commons, GitHub stuff without permission. Or things that had that their permission was that they don't be sold. Well, they weren't selling the emulator. It was really selling the unit to play the stuff through. And the emulators were programmed into it. But I look at that Retron 5 and I just think, if they would have kept updating this, or if they would have even more so let it be a thing where if they would have left the OS open enough instead of keeping everything locked, where people could update it themselves, add their own emulators, where I see a community where community could have been continually upgrading this thing and updating this thing to 100% compatibility. I think the Retron 5 would be sort of the go-to for retro game players who wanted to buy cartridges but didn't want to spend a bunch of money on hardware, worrying that hardware was going to die at some point. Sadly, that wasn't in the cards. I've only used the Retron for one stream. Let me back this up just a bit. Honestly, milk cow juice. Honestly, I can see all of them making a new console that was backwards compatible. Yeah, and that'd be pretty cool. Can you imagine, Omegs, if, I mean, Microsoft would never do it, but can you imagine Sony? Let's say Sony didn't even do it with the PSA. Let's say Sony decided to do something completely separate from the PS6 that they just decided to release. Let's call it PlayStation Eras. Let's say they released a console that had disk drive, a CD drive, CD, DVD, Blu-ray, that had a slot for handheld titles for their, so it'd be compatible with Vita and PS1, whatever. Something PlayStation Era's console that was just designed to play everything retro, everything PS5 and before. Or let's even go more so. Let's say because PS5's out now that they decided to make one that just did PS4 and earlier. It was just designed to give you your retro fix. I think something like that would sell so well. That would make Sony so much money. It is insane. If Nintendo was more difficult because of all the different designs of the cartridges. Sony, though, because they were almost all CD based, easy peasy. You cannot tell me that would not be, that might become the best selling console of all time. And I'm not even a PlayStation fan. Imagine your NES collection had the Nintendo World Championship. I wish I had. There was a company that put out like a licensed reproduction of that. I think it was licensed. If it wasn't, it was still a nice reproduction. I wish you could still get it. It was a company called Retro USB, because I've got their one of their systems. It's a NES clone called the AVS, the Retro USB AVS. It uses an FPGA chip, so it's really, really accurate and looks really good. But I never use it to stream with. I don't know why. Something wrong with me. As in solely focused on. Yeah. I see what you're saying, Omegs. I see what you're saying. And that even goes back to Retron 5. I think, like I said, if it would have been compatible or been more open source, if the software, if the OS and everything had been open source so that people could continually updating it, I think the Retron 5 would have, man, Hyperkin would be sitting so pretty right now. Hyperkin that could be their only thing they ever released and they'd be fine. And you know, for me, what is a competitive game done right? Tetris. No, Tetris is great. Tetris is great. Don't know if it was Sony, but they said, sorry, you don't own digital stuff you purchase from us. In a moment we feel like it, we get rid of them. Yeah, it's been a lot, honestly. That's been a lot of companies, Agnes. That's been pretty much everyone. Even, I think even Nintendo has said stuff like that now. That's the side effect of the digital age. And that's even the side effect of Steam. As much as I love Steam, that threat is always there. All it takes is one person to get in charge there. Speedrun community, the speedrun community, they're rad as heck. Oh yeah, I like watching some speedruns. They're fun. Oh, like the adapt. I enjoy watching some speedruns. In fact, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I used to watch. I can't think of his name. He's a speedrunner who wears a cowboy hat on his YouTube streams. I used to watch some of his stuff where he'd play through like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles using some of the glitches in a matter of just a few minutes. He was the one who I first saw play Die Hard on NES in like 5 minutes. Because you just keep going up and down the stairs and it causes the clock to reach the reach the end of the game, so then you could just go to the roof. Oh, like the adapter. That Game Boy had to let you play Game Boy games. Oh yeah, I got that thing. Yeah, I love that. I mean, well, I've got that, Omegs, because that's why I used to, or at least I thought you did. That's why I used to play most of my Game Boy stuff on stream. That would be a great addition. Yeah, it would. Actually want to have a PS Vita. That's the type of DLC I want. There is some sort of an open source system, Omegs, that's emulation based, sort of going along with the Retron 5 idea. No, it isn't emulation. It's FPGA based. There is one out there, but it's like Kickstarter and stuff, and it's expensive, and they sell individual cartridge adapters for each system you want it to play. I cannot remember the name of the console or what the name of the project is, but it's one of these where they sell a separate Genesis and a separate NES and a separate, and you just hook them in and then put your cartridge in because, what was that? I actually want to have PS Vita because Persona 4 Golden. I've never played any Personas. They always look interesting. That is a... Ooh, let me back this up. Jump. That's a really good idea. It's an interesting console. How do we preserve games if we don't have games to begin with? Yeah. No, I agree, Agnes. Well, that's the whole thing, isn't it? You will own nothing. You will rent everything, and you will be happy. They don't care about preserving stuff. And this goes for movies and games. And this even goes for people who you would think would be at the top of preserving stuff. Let's look at what George Lucas has said about some of the stuff that he doesn't like. George Lucas has said that the Star Wars Holiday Special, that if he had his way, he would go with a hammer and break every single physical copy in existence. And George Lucas, when it came to the original theatrical cuts of Star Wars, when people were out there begging him, hey, you've done these special editions, will you put out the original versions? George Lucas famously said something along the lines of, well, someday all of the old videotapes and everything else will be gone, and only my final versions will be the ones that'll be there for people to watch. You know, screw you. I love you, George Lucas, but screw you and that attitude. I understand that your director's cut, your final cut is considered the final cut, but there's significance to the originals and to the memories of everyone who saw them that way. That doesn't even mean everyone who wants them prefers them to your super duper special ultra editions with extra Crayola crayons on them. It just means that they respect those other versions and want them to be preserved and want to be able maybe to compare and contrast at times. Arcus? I don't know what Arcus is, sorry. Welcome in, Daylin, welcome in. No worries. I'm only dropping by to say hello because I am more busy than typical. No worries. But I hope everyone's having a great day, night, etc. You too as well, Daylin. Have a good day. Good luck with whatever you're working on. If you need to get rest, hopefully you're getting rest. PS2 had PS1 built in. Yes, early PS3 had PS2 built in, but later they dropped it to make it cheaper. Yeah, I remember that. Make it cheaper. I'm not sure a PS that played all versions would be as popular as we'd want, mainly due to being expensive. I don't know. I think with FPGA technology, I think, David, with these FPGA technologies, if it was something where it could be programmed to handle all this stuff, it wouldn't have to have a built-in PS1 and a built-in PS2 and all these things. I think it could all be done with one specific piece of hardware and everything else handled at the software and the firmware level. I could be wrong, but I think that, I mean, it's year of our Lord 2026. I think that is probably doable. Persona games are amazing as hell. You don't need to go in order. Really? Okay, interesting. Thanks, and yes, resting during moments of downtime, but gonna sleep well tonight. Gotcha. Anyway, gotta roll. Thank you for stopping by, Daylin. Hydration break. If you got a drink, take a drink. Hydrate or dihydrate. Okay, before we start the movie. Holy crap, it's 9:20. Okay, before we start the movie, chat. Yes, there's a movie. Oh, gosh, Canada can't watch the movie. I'm so sorry, the Shy Siren. Oh, sorry, wishing buttery blessings on all your popcorn. Thank you for stopping by, Siren. As always, in chat, if you haven't checked out the Shy Siren, be sure to check out her I can speak. Be sure to check out her channel. She does a lot of cool stuff. And now's a good time to mention, since she just popped in. Just a reminder, chat, this coming week, schedule's already set. We are going to be on Friday doing a guest yapping thing with the Shy Siren. Don't ask why Tom Baker's in the picture. I don't know. But he is, and he's Tom Baker, and chat. Tom Baker's badass. I don't know why you're upset. It makes sense to me, I'm sure. The problem is that anti-piracy tech of the PS1 was based on hardware, not on software. I would still think there's a way hardware-wise to handle it, Luciano. I would think they could build. I think if Sony was doing it themselves, they could build in the anti-piracy tech into their hardware. I mean, there'd be certain things with the hardware you'd have to work into it and not software. Because I'm just thinking with FPGA chips, because FPGA chips can pretty much be programmed to be whatever they need to be. If they had one devoted solely to the PS1 stuff, I'm not saying it'd be a cheap system by any means, but I'm saying if there was a system, let's go ahead and say close to the price of a low-end PS5, or to what a PS4 would have gone for. I don't know. I think it's doable. Let me back this up a little bit. Your stream is the third result when I search for the... Really? Well, that could be because you're subscribed to me, but that's still fantastic. That's interesting. I'm sorry you couldn't find it. I was hoping I could find another source for it, Siren. I was going to check, I did check archive.org, but all they had were some, I don't know, some trailers and stuff. I'm sure there's probably a source online, but yeah, I have no idea with Canada where you'd find it. I'm sorry. Yeah, but that is neat. That is neat. On PS2, you could simply put an 8 hard drive and HD on it, download every game from the internet. Oh, interesting. Clickbait with Tom Baker. Indeed. To see the bait, you gotta click the bait. Woo! Haven't heard about that name. Heard that name after a friend of mine talk about Dr. Yeah. Tom Baker's the best. I love Tom Baker. John Pertwee, too. I love John Pertwee. The Pertwee years and the Baker years. Fantastic. FPGA is just emulation for old systems. Just more bare metal. Problem goes back to accurate emulation, which I'm all for. I have heard I can't say for PlayStation. I know the FPGA chips for like NES and SNES and Genesis, at least like when Analog did them, are just about 100%, at least to the point that they were 100% compatible with every genuine game. I know they struggled. I think some of them struggle with some of the SD card cartridges and maybe with a few multi-carts. That's all I could think of. I don't have any analog stuff. I'll never buy analog stuff. I will never buy analog stuff. Oh yeah, if you ever want to watch Mecha Anime, get a Robo and Gao Gaigar. I've heard of those. I've seen those from, like, discotheque. Cannot watch movie in my country either. Mexico. Darn, I sure picked the right movie, didn't I? Here, let me pick the best Chuck Norris movie in the history of ever, and no one can watch it. I'm sorry. Oh, well, if you do want to watch along, chat, hopefully you can find another source. Maybe not on YouTube, but maybe there's something if you do just a search online for a streaming copy. They're probably all based on the same source, which would be the current HD scan, so I'm sure it would probably line up. Those two shows are, for me, true, beautiful meaning of bravery and heroism. Okay, I'll keep those in mind. Yeah, I've especially heard of Getter Robo. Analog. I do, time, to dust out the old VPN. Oh, boy, yeah. Honestly, I feel like everyone's gonna have to have a VPN soon. With all of these, age verification stuff and identity verification crap, I feel like, you know, I hate it, but I feel like everyone having a VPN is just... It's just, I don't know if there's ever going to be a way around it. And that sucks, because I don't want one. It slows me. I can't use it to stream with. It slows me down. I tried using it at one point. Gonna lurk. I've just been worn out lately. No, you're good. Thank you for lurking. Appreciate it, David. Have a good rest. Oh, with the FPGA stuff. So, analog. Let me mention that I'll try, but if not, have fun. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, by the way, rip to Chuck Norris. Indeed. Indeed, yeah. I mean, you never expect it with most anyone, but I definitely didn't see that one coming. That would have been like Shatner going. Oh, I did want to mention Analog, because they're never going to sponsor me. Let me tell you my Analog story. So have y'all ever heard of Analog? Analog is, actually, they purport to be. Anymore, people slam them. But they purport to be sort of a boutique company for making modernized hardware for retro systems. They're most known for something, I think it's called the Analog Pocket, which is a Game Boy clone thing. Analog did a clone Sega Genesis and a clone Super Nintendo with FPGA chips, the Mega SG and the Super NT. And they did several runs, and they got to their final run of manufacturing of these. And they had like a pre-order set that you needed to order before, and once that was done, it was over with. They didn't list on their site what the last day to place the pre-orders was, and I was trying to time it with my paychecks. I emailed them to ask, hey, when is the last day for these pre-orders? About 2 weeks to a month later, they replied to me exactly 1 day after the final ordering period had ended, just to tell me it's already ended. That's some amazing customer service you got there, Analog. I mean, that's like super impressive. So needless to say, I didn't pick up a Mega SG, I didn't pick up a Super NT, and really that has soured me where I don't think I will ever pick up anything from Analog. Plus, I've heard some really bad things about their shipping practices, where they charge people for priority shipping, but then they ship it cheaper, which is BS. If you're charging people for priority, you better ship it priority. I will get in touch with my credit card company about stuff like that. Let me back this up. Missed a couple things. Only knew him not about movies, but I knew him through the memes, yeah, and fan animation back in 2010, since I was a little child back then. Speaking of which, Hiroshi Fujioka, the actor of Kamen Rider 1971, and Sagata Senshiro is the Japanese Chuck Norris. I don't know. Don't take my word, but I felt that. I've heard that before with Sagata Senshiro. I'm probably messing that name up, but I've heard that. I've seen that name listed before in the same vein as Chuck Norris. And I've also seen one British name mentioned too, Brian Blessed, who wasn't like a martial artist. He's this big burly actor, but he's this actor who like later became famous like as being a super adventurer, like climbing mountains and wrestling bears and crap. So he climbs mountains, he wrestles bears, and he played the Hawkman guy in Flash Gordon, the 1980s movie. Gordon's alive! Yeah. Okay, that was random. Oh, okay, before we watch the movie, chat, I brought up the Shy Siren. That's going to be awesome when we have her on. Hopefully Video Ninja works better for me than it has recently, too. Because I had some audio issues when I was doing it with Nissa. Schedule for the rest of this coming week. Monday, we're going to do Adventure Island 2 on Nintendo Entertainment System. Tuesday, I'm going back to Bat and Kaitos because, darn it, I got to finish... I'd like to finish it before this year is over. Wednesday, no NES tier list because it's the full moon. So we're going to be continuing Super Seducer, learning to seduce everyone in a super fashion. And I wonder if once again he'll tell us, you know, to tell the ladies that we're gay while rubbing up on their legs or whatever that was. That was so creepy. Thursday, we're going to continue Season 1 of Sam and Max, aka Sam and Max Save the World. We'll be doing episodes 3 and 4 because last night we completed episodes 1 and 2, so I think we could do 2 episodes per stream, and there are a total of 6. And then Friday, obviously, we'll be yapping with the burb. We will be yapping with the burb, with everyone's favorite burb, the Shy Siren. Yes, that's her. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Trying to figure out what to talk about too. It's always, you know, it's one of those things. You'd ask me about what we were going to talk about. I know, and man, I'm so used to winging it, but I also try to get things somewhat prepared. And then I forget it. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be just like every other one. I'm going to like mentally prepare myself, and then the moment we start, I'll forget it all, and then it's just really going to be winging it. Because I am pro streamer. Oh, speaking of pro streamer, we do have a new goodbye anime, a new good closing screen. Let me just show y'all real quick the new closing screen, even though we're not leaving. It's better when you forget it all. Yeah, that makes it last even longer, Omegs, because I'm fishing my own brain to figure out what questions to ask. Oh, I'm the most unprofessional ever. Here's the new closing screen, chat. Let me go ahead and show you this, even though we're not ending stream, okay? Yada, yada, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. This is the way I would press the close button. Just so you can see, I'm making some use of the emote, finally. It's just a test. We're not ending. We're not ending. We're not ending. Yeah, so we're, yeah, I didn't want to, I was thinking about what you had said, Omegs, and we are pregnant. Yeah, I want to get some use out of it, and I don't know how else to use it. So why not? Why not? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I guess it's time to do the movie. I guess we should do the movie. Let me do a quick hydration break. That's a good idea, Twin Opinion. If you got a drink, take a drink, hydrate, or buy... Oh, thank goodness. I thought it stopped. Oh, hydrate or dihydrate. Thank you for the gifted membership, Omegs. Thank you so much. Silithin. Ooh, woo.
So, you got diabetes.
Thank you so much for the raid. I wonder if that's someone who came in with, I mean, not for the raid, for the membership. I was about to say, because I wonder if that person came in on one of the raids. Yeah, thank you so much for the gift, Omegs. Okay, chat, I guess my apologies again to everyone who isn't able to watch this in your region. I was hoping it would be available on YouTube everywhere, especially with Chuck Norris fever sweeping the nation because of everything right now. So let me go ahead and switch us over to the to the Busted TV chat, and we will go ahead and finally start the movie. So door transition. You know, I said I was going to take a hydration break, and I never did. Hydration break. Okay, as y'all can see, there is a timer. For those of you just joining us, there's a timer right next to me on the screen. That timer will show you the point we are in the video copy we are watching. Talk about actors. I love Orson Welles. Orson Welles, I love. Orson Welles was kind of weird later in life. Great actor, but really weird when he started getting into like dark art stuff. When he, you know, it's amazing. He went from being like amateur magician, professional magician, and then he started getting into like dark. There's like this really weird story. There's this really weird story of something that happened when he was on the Tonight Show, in like the late 70s or it must have been late 70s into early 80s, where he did some sort of I don't know. It was just, I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but great actor, great director, and great editor. Orson Welles was a master film editor. He was a master film editor as far as reshaping his movies and whatnot in the editing booth. Oh, and by the way, Orson Welles and Peter Sellers could not stand each other, and that's one of the reasons that Casino Royale, the movie Casino Royale from the 60s, is such a mess. It's because Peter Sellers, they couldn't stand each other, and they were both in the movie and supposed to have scenes together, and Peter Sellers unfortunately kind of proved Orson Welles' point, because Peter Sellers couldn't be an adult about it and act like an adult and act literally like an adult. He kept calling in sick. He kept, on days he and Orson Welles were supposed to do scenes together, he would call out. So it finally got to the point where the producers, I guess, one of the key producer, Charles K. Feldman, went to one of the directors, because the movie was a mess. It had a ton of directors, and who was also like handling the editing, and asked, "Hey, do we have enough footage where we could finish this movie and not bring him back at all?" And they said, "Well, I guess so, kinda, sorta." So yeah. Peter Sellers didn't get along with Orson Welles, because Orson Welles said something about like Peter Sellers being a no-talent hack or something like that. And Sellers kind of proved his point, which is unfortunate because Sellers is talented. We just watched The Party. He was great in it, but he also had some issues. Okay, chat, y'all ready for the movie? Are y'all ready for the movie? One's in chat for everyone who's ready to start watching. I'll take another drinky drink. Orson Welles' best work was the Frozen Pea commercial. I've never seen that. I'll have to look that up later. 3. Oh no, you don't have the thing. 420. Y'all. Let me just check one thing and then we'll get started. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, hydrating one last time. Oh, and also, I already said this before. I guess I should mention a couple things about the movie. So this movie, Lone Wolf McQuade, a few things interesting about it. First of all, it is the influence for Walker, Texas Ranger. This is where Walker, Texas Ranger begins. In fact, the director of this, or the producer, one of them, was really upset because Chuck Norris ran off in the 90s and made Walker, Texas Ranger, and basically didn't bring him in on it because he would have loved to have continued it as the character McQuade. But Walker is McQuade. This is the beginning, essentially. Number 2, this thing co-stars David Carradine as the Heavy. David Carradine, and there's a Bruce Lee connection there with both Chuck Norris and David Carradine, because David Carradine was he didn't study under Bruce, but Bruce Lee was, I guess, hoping to get or co-wrote or helped come up with the idea for the TV series Kung Fu. And then Hollywood decided they didn't want Bruce Lee starring in the show. So they cast David Carradine instead. but David Carradine, to his credit, took it seriously, and he kind of got into a lot of martial arts stuff. I mean, nowhere near like a Bruce Lee, but he did take it seriously to the point where he wound up, once Kung Fu ended, getting cast in various martial arts movie things like Circle of Iron, which was based on a Bruce Lee script Bruce Lee never got to shoot. Third, this it's nice when actors go out of their way to train for their role. Yeah, and it stuck with him. Now the bad thing about this, so it's fitting that it's Bruce Lee and that it's Chuck Norris versus David Carradine, because it's a safe bet that Bruce Lee probably secretly hated, David Carradine because of losing that role, even though it wasn't David Carradine's fault, like Henry Cavill. Oh, Cavill's great. Cavill is such a professional. I was reading a story about him the other day where one of these younger actors was like trying to get to know him and to be buddy and ask about his weekend. And he basically was like shutting it down like, hey, look, we've talked about this. Let's just keep things professional. Because he didn't want to, he didn't want to accidentally create like a familiarity that shouldn't be there. He wanted to keep things super professional. And I guess she was like praising him. Everyone's acting like, my gosh, how cold. And she's out there saying, this is good because it taught me how to be a better actor and to treat it more seriously. So yeah, Henry Cavill's great. And I hope I know nothing about Warhammer, and I hope his Warhammer thing turns out amazing. I think it's going to. I hope it turns out amazing. But yeah, David Carradine. So David Carradine versus Chuck Norris, kind of fitting because David Carradine was kind of seen as a villain because of Kung Fu, even though he was also seen as a hero because Kung Fu was a hit. David Carradine was a drunk also. David Carradine was, he's also a gamer. Oh, Cavill, yep. We love the gamer. David Carradine was a drunk. He was an alcoholic. And most of his movies he was making in like the 70s and 80s and even the early 90s, he was blasted out of his skull. Including it's a safe bet, chat, every scene you're going to see David Carradine in this movie is with him acting as a functional drunk. Now, eventually, David Carradine did break away from the alcohol, unfortunately, and he broke away from it long before Kill Bill. Unfortunately, he kind of got addicted to doing some other stuff, not drugs, and died in a very unfortunate way, which I will not be saying on stream. But if y'all want to look up the death of actor David Carradine, that's a real crap way to go. You're welcome. Awful way. Oh man, hell of a that's one of those things you should be thinking about before you do it. As what's this going to mean to my legacy? Yeah, we'll just put that. It's one of those things where you should be thinking, what are people going to remember me for? Yeah. Sorry, not meaning to judge, but just I'm judging. I'm awful. Next, two last things to say about this movie. It also features a very young Robert Beltran. Robert Beltran went on to do Star Trek Voyager as Commander Chakotay. He was in a number of other things before, though. I think the first thing he got noticed for was a movie called Eating Raoul, which I've never been a fan of, but apparently it was a big deal. I tried watching it. I only got a little bit. It was too artsy for me. I just wasn't the audience. And the last thing I'm going to mention, this movie has a very spaghetti Western feel. It's got a very much even though there's the martial arts aspect, it's got a spaghetti Western feel, including the music. And I can't remember who did the music on this. It's not Ennio Morricone, but the music on this movie is insanely good. It's one of those scores I wish I had had. Okay, chat, we're going to start the movie now. Starting the movie. Timer is set. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. I know the term Wild West film on Italy, spaghetti western. Yes, Italian western. Italian western movie. It's got that feel. Because they had a different style than... And movies, westerns that came out of Spain, etc., were regarded as that too. They used to use that same term kind of interchangeably. Even the opening credits, that looks like a spaghetti western. You're such a cool, chill guy with such a smooth voice. You sure you're not a voice actor? I mean, I list myself as a voice actor. I can't say I've done professional work outside of a few commercials in a past life. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm glad David Carradine got a top billing on this. Because I really did love David Carradine. It's sad that he went the way he did. He needs to become a voice actor. Thank you, Omegs. Bless you. Gat does it all. I don't know about that, but thank you. Leon Isaac Kennedy. Robert Beltran. Oh, yeah, it listed Barbara Carrera, too. Barbara Carrera is beautiful. Man, Barbara Carrera was beautiful. She was in Never Say Never Again. LQ Jones. You used to see him in a lot of stuff. Although I can't put my finger on any of it. Found the movie, sorry. Oh, no, don't worry. I don't want anyone in chat. Don't watch it. Don't go purchase it. Don't go purchase it. If you can't find it to watch for free, no worries. And because of that, you need to duck out. No worries. Sorry about that. Don't worry. Next week, we're back to normal. This was one of those streams that we just decided to do because of Chuck Norris's passing. I wasn't going to do a watch-along this week. I didn't want to do a watch-along this week originally, but, you know, with Chuck Norris passing, it just felt like, well, maybe I shouldn't. Then I put it as a poll in chat, and chat decided. Yeah, so again, chat, don't go buying the movie just to watch it on stream, please. Unless you really, really want to, because it's an awesome movie. It's on Tubi for free. Well, it might be region locked. Depending on your region, it's on Tubi for free. But again, region depending. I wonder what transfer... I know this is probably meaningless, but I wonder what high definition transfer YouTube is using here. I'd have to compare it to the Blu-ray, because there are two Blu-rays. There was one from MGM, and there was I say recent. There's like a 5-year-old remaster, which looks better from Ronin Films, I think. And now I think Kino owns it. Because it's one that I did repurchase for that. I heard someone using a VPN to watch it. There's some free VPNs as simple browser extensions. Yeah, chat, I'm not promoting using any of those, but, you know, I'm sure that if you're looking to watch it for free, you could probably find a way to get to the region-locked versions using a free VPN, potentially. But again, I can't promote doing anything like that because, you know, that would get me in trouble. So I won't do that. In fact, I will specifically say, do not download a free VPN for your as a browser extension to watch a movie that is not in your region without paying for it. Aw, Umamusume! Such a great buildup, too, with zero dialogue. Such a great, classy buildup. And perfect for Chuck Norris, because like I said, he didn't like to do dialogue. Yeah, oh, Megs, I know. Oh, and I love his siren sound on his vehicle, too, whenever he turns it on. I've heard it used before, but it in other things, this sound, but it's a siren sound effect I've always really liked, of all the different types of, like, alert sounds in movies and, I guess, in real life. Texas Rangers. See, I mean, even that's a dead giveaway that you knew Walker had to have been some sort of influenced by this, since this happened quite a few years earlier. Horse thieving, I guess. Nice teeth. I need a gold tooth on my model, chat. Very young Robert Beltran. And again, hardly any dialogue. Only one man can save the day. His name is Clint Eastwood. What? Wrong movie. Speaking of young actors in old news, did you know Elijah Wood appears in Back to the Future 2? Is he one of the kids in the Cafe 80s, Luciano? If so, I'll have to go back and look at it. I did not know that. I'll look that up later. Thank you. I did not know that. Oh no. Oof. Used to watch the series on open TV, then VHS. Gotcha, yeah. Yeah. One of the kids playing the old arcade machine. Is he? Okay, so he is in the cafe. Gotcha. Oh. Oh, that'll do it. He's telling you not to move, dude. He just shot your truck. I don't think you want to ask him to stand up. Yep, just outside the range. Oh! Oh! Oof. Well, yeah. Ain't no one ever lived. Man, that's a great shot. That is a great shot. You giggle, but your model mouth didn't open. Did it not? Oh. Yeah, must have not picked up the sound that well. That's interesting. Yeah, model. It's kind of... The motion tracking's not the best. I've talked about it before. The webcam I use was supposed to be really good for it, but supposed to in reality are... This is a bad decision. Oh, that hurt me. Ever upgrading to 3? Oh, well, this is a 3D model. If anything, it'll be an upgrade for me eventually go live 2D. No, it's a 3D model. I just geared it to look more 2D. I prefer the 2D look, really. So yeah, someday I will. Plus, we do have an upgraded model, which I'm waiting to receive the finalized version of from someone named Fumi Kokia, who does great work at a really great price. Sorry, how do you call the fully tracked? Oh, yeah, fully tracked. Nah, I'm not really interested in going the fully tracked route. I prefer to just keep it basic. Oh, good night, Judd. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night. YAAAP model incoming. Motion cap is expensive. Yeah, and there's some ways you could do it with, like, if I had an iPhone, I could probably do better semi-motion capture, like hand capture, but yeah. For the type of streams I do, it just doesn't really fit. I don't really need to do I don't need to do dance routines and whatnot with this model, except for maybe doing the Miko dance thing pre-programmed someday. Well, nice of him to take a shower. Oh. I gotta be honest, I'd hate to be sitting next to him. I really would. Jennifer, welcome in. I hope you are having a good night. Good to see you. Good to see you, Jennifer. We just finally started the movie we were yapping for ever and a day. But I hope you are doing well tonight. Interesting. Never seen 2D Mac. Yeah. I'm doing good. Just finished eating. Nice. Hope you had a good meal. Nice. Wow. What a jerk. Here it's his retirement party, and then he goes up and says, I'm not going to miss you. Yowzers. But really, this is really well, you know, I get a lot more appreciation for how this one's shot now. I think that I did, years ago, you just watch it just an action movie, but it is really well photographed. Oh yeah, it's more important to look good than to actually get the job done. Noted. PR. Ay, ay, ay. Excuse me, I'll be doing other stuff. Thank you for that. Hey, no worries, Agnes. Thanks for stopping in. Sorry it's not available in your region. Have a good night. So in order to have the job, you gotta be married, have kids, white picket fence. That's just crazy. He's very happy about this. I mean, it's so easy to tell with the music, you know, who's the villain, who's the hero, but we love trust. Huh. That's something and I was kind of touching on this earlier. I love the idea of this, of having Chuck Norris versus David Carradine, because both were seen as sort of symbols of martial arts at the time. David Carradine was seen really because of the series Kung Fu. He was synonymous with martial arts, whether he was a good martial artist or not. I mean, he took, like I say, he took it seriously, but he would have gotten his ass beat by, you know, Bruce Lee. And of course, Chuck Norris was seen as the unstoppable martial arts force at this point. So this is one of those casting decisions that is just phenomenal. I mean, it really, if this had been done a few years later, you could have had, you know, Chuck Norris versus Jean-Claude Van Damme and accomplish a similar thing, but dubbed in growls. Gotta love that. Wow. I would like to let you all know I have never lived in a place, you know, trash like that, even despite bachelor lifestyle and whatnot. Oh, Whoa, okay. Well, we got another hole in the roof to fix. I can't speak. Handled that pretty well. Yeah. Let's work in our little montage to just show how amazing Chuck Norris is. I love that gun. I've always loved those little sawed-off shotguns like that. Yeah. In fact, someone was coming up on a Twitter thing at one point for a shotgun pistol. I didn't even know those were a thing. I don't know anything about them, but I guess you don't have to have much as far as licensing because they're considered a shotgun. Not that I'm looking to get a bunch of unlicensed chat, YouTube, if you're listening, YouTube, I am not getting a bunch of unlicensed firearms. I'm not, you know, promoting getting a bunch of unlicensed firearms. I'd like to think this is Chakotay in the holodeck. Yeah. Oh, that'd be a cool fan edit for something, wouldn't it be? Someone cut together stuff with this if you could with some scenes from Voyager. I wonder if you could really make that work. That'd be interesting. I love that too. His souped up engine. Whee! Oh. You know, you should have known better at that point, Chakotay. Although I don't see the crack in the windshield that we saw when he was driving, so that seems to be a continuity issue. Unless it wasn't showing up on the camera. Man, wash your truck. His truck's as dirty as his apartment. Or trailer, excuse me. Oh dear. Two weeks? That's quick. Oh, and now the boyfriend comes home? Oh dear. Worst Thanksgiving ever. Maybe you should say sir instead of ranger. I'm just saying, I would have. Just seems weird. Maybe just calling him ranger is normal. Okay. So what happens to the boyfriend if she's moving to Las Cruces? Is it going to be a long distance relationship, or is this just going to end already? I mean, that part, you know, end. The relationship, I mean. Uh-oh. I forgot about the little person. The sinister little person villain. Hmm. Wow, that's a line. Uh-oh. I wonder if that backfire was intentional. Save the damsel, indeed. I want to say Barbara Carrera was a model turned actress. I could be completely off on that. But I know she did a bunch of stuff in this time period. And then she just kind of, as far as I know, just kind of disappeared. Boy, he's coming up with all the swagger. Hmm. Huh. Exhibition. Oh, love that. And that's one thing too, and I'm going to pay more attention to it during this watch, but I always felt too like there was a chip on the shoulder maybe there where it felt like David Carradine, even though it was acting, obviously it felt like the fighting they do against each other, like he was trying to outshow Chuck Norris. Like he was really trying to show that he was the better martial artist in the movie, which I mean isn't the case, but I always got that feeling I remember before, and it's gonna be interesting seeing it again if that comes off. Yeah, that's not an awkward dance. So he only wants pearl beer. Got it. Oh. So there is one. Bottom shelf. Okay. I've never heard of pearl beer. I don't know if it was made for the movie or if it was a one of those brands that was just local. Yeah, I really did get the feeling like he was trying to outclass Chuck Norris during his scenes. Oh, I know it's just a sound effect, but that crunch made me wince. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Like, I love how she's upset about it now, but how could she not know that was going to happen? Okay, that was unfortunate. Oh, yeah. Oh, about to... Ah, come on. I wanted him to take him down with one punch for that. Oof. Good. Oh, no. I didn't remember this. Mm-hmm. Oh! I guess he just wants to... He wants to see how he fights, you could tell. Whee! Oh! That was not fun. That was not fun. Not fun at all. Thank you. There's always been something about her voice that I love. There's always been a quality to it, to her tone. All right, to for nine at the gap. Fair. Patch him up. I mean, he's not really that. He's not really that injured. Busted lip. Yeah, when this is over, Chad, I want to look up. I want to see what happened to her. Because I really don't know. I know that other former Ranger, the one who was retired, that LQ Jones, I think he's still around because he did an interview for the Blu-ray of this. He and Robert Beltran did. No interview with Chuck Norris, though. He never did any special features, really, with any of his movies. There aren't any interviews with him. What the deuce? Well, there we go. Well, that was quick. How about a change of scenery? Yeah, let's get thrown out of someplace else. I love that ad that was up there. I don't know if that was a Miller ad or what. Uh-oh. Oh, you just know that this is going to end badly. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, no, 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 no. How long were they there? Nice try with the tire iron, kid. You know, she really shouldn't be screaming out. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Ow, that is terrifying. It's a good thing that vehicle didn't blow up. But the place she tucked into, I would have thought that would have, like, crushed her legs when that went over. Or even, like, part of her, like, her hips or back or something. Well, then. I guess Chuck has decided that the date has ended. And he still has not washed that vehicle. Well, there we go. There, that siren. I love that. Yeah, they'll play it more later, I think. Oof. Well, you just told him the number. What'd you expect? Of course he was going to run. No kidding. Yeah, hardly hurt at all, it looked like. Just a few scratches. Yeah, I don't know why. There's something about that siren sound I really like. Not like, I don't want it as an ASMR track to help me sleep, but there's just something about it. Hmm. Oops. Speaking of ASMR, I'm opening a can of seltzer. Hmm. Of course, nowadays he would have been able to snap a picture of it with a cell phone and hand it back to them. It's amazing how, oh, hold on. What the deuce? Ah. Like I was saying, it's interesting, like cop movies, for me, they seem so much more interesting in the days before cell phones. And I mean, I know this has computers here, but in the days before major computers and cell phones and whatnot, because having to figure stuff out without, digital enhancement and everything else, and without being able to immediately call someone and get the answers you want. I guess what I'm saying, police, yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's something more fun and interesting. It feels like mysteries were deeper. Mysteries and stuff were deeper when the world wasn't as connected. The world's gotten a lot smaller. Yeah, there was a CD soundtrack to this movie too. I really regret not picking it up. Today, investigator would start talking to Grok. Yeah, and Chat GPT and Google some stuff. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't make for a very interesting narrative, does it? It's one of those things. I was amazed that the recent BBC Sherlock series turned out as well as it did in the era of cell phones and whatnot. I thought they did I mean, it was uneven. There were some really clunkers, especially towards the end, but I think generally speaking, that series of Sherlock did a good job still keeping the mystery alive. God, I love this score. Got to learn how to throw a punch, I guess. Poor guy stuck against a wall, can't even run away. He's getting ricocheted back and forth. Even the lighting of some of these scenes, like with that red light there, that was really nice. I wonder if that was just a stroke of luck where they came into this building and it had a red light there. I always liked Robert Beltran. I'm surprised he never became more of a leading man. I want to say, though, that he does a lot of stage acting. I want to say I read on Robert Beltran that he really prefers doing stage, which is cool. But he was someone who I always thought could have, especially when you saw him as he had gotten older in Voyager, it really seemed leading man quality. If Hollywood even has leading men anymore. Good night. All pointing the way. They do not like their boss. I listen to this music too, and you know, film music is so different now. It's hard to believe it's so different now. But this really was that sweet spot I feel for film music. The extremely late 70s up through like the mid 90s, I've always felt was a really great period for movie scores. Much as I love like the score to say Lord of the Rings, it's just a different quality. And so many of these little scores that are, I don't know, weren't really appreciated then. Ha! You've had your 6. Oh. No, you should not do that. No, do not. Okay, why is he whining after he's gotten pulled out? Call the fire department. No, let it burn. It's okay. No one we know lives around here. It's nice that all the criminals and cops know each other so well already. Oh, dear. Ow, 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 ow. I mean, you brought that on yourself, buddy, but it still hurts me. Ow, my arm. It's always Falcone. It's always a Falcone, ain't it? Gee. Ooh. Oh, now that's sad if his kid's wrapped up in it. That's sad. We can get him to stay put just by making sure I keep saying he's my partner. Yeah, he stops following me. All I had to do is start saying, okay, you're my partner, and now he'll stay put. I can go do whatever I want. Oof, all that trash. I know it's clean, it's organized. Don't panic. A bit. Ouch. Dude, okay, now that's just rude. Here she gives you all these groceries, helping you clean up, and this is how you react. Bruh. Oh. Wow. Oof. Yeah, apologize. Jeez. Yeah. Seriously, I'm sorry. If I had someone I date, even though I'd be a little freaked out if she broke into my house because that'd be, you know, sort of a yandere thing. If someone came over and was like cleaning and suddenly I found my refrigerator filled with fresh groceries and stuff, I don't think my reaction would be, you know, to like start throwing stuff out and whatnot. That would be like the most impressively romantic she cares about me thing. Oh gosh, and then they got in the mud. Ew. Ew, why? No. No, dirty. No, don't do that. No. No, do you just cleaned. No, don't. Do not. Ew, it's gonna get everywhere. It's gonna get everywhere. Okay, that's one scene I really do not understand in this movie, chat. The mud love scene. Matt, that's how you get yourself in a toxic relationship with the, oh, yeah, fair. I don't care. I'd still love it. It's honestly, I would be so flat. The truth is I'd be so flattered. I would be so flattered to have someone, you know, care to that degree. I wouldn't mind having some of those games I saw in there. I think that was a pinball machine of Xenon. Hmm. Okay, I know. It's a Bond villain. Matt, pay attention to the story. Don't get distracted by the old hardware on the background. Yeah, I know. I want the pinball machines, man. And I do love the little person in it being like a Bond villain like that. That's so over the top, and I love it. He makes a heck of a dealer. Oh, that is. I love the glasses they've got him wearing too. Uh-oh. Oh. Oof. Oh. Oh. I do wonder how drunk he was, though. Because David Carradine, like I said, was a functional alcoholic. There's so many stories of other movies where he just hard to work with because of it. I think he should have been, not yelling out. Oof. Because I keep trying to think. There was a vampire movie he was in shortly before he stopped drinking called Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat, I think it was. Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat. And it was David Carradine basically as Dracula. And Bruce Campbell was in it. And I think David Carradine was in the there was an interview with him and with Bruce Campbell, and it's unless I'm mistaken, David Carradine or Campbell's memories were of David Carradine being drunk, and Carradine's were of not remembering because he was drunk. I think I need to watch that interview again. That featurette. Oof. Oh, darn. Mm. Oh, please. Don't go giving him a look like that. Hmm. Uh uh I mean, it's predictable, isn't it? That's the way it always name for me a cop movie where that doesn't happen. Feds swoop in, you're out of your district, you're out of your jurisdiction, Callahan. All these damn rules get in the way of justice, but it's true. I hate to say it. I mean, I know it's not true in reality. I'm sure there are cases in reality. I'm sure. Well, there are cases because there are plenty of cases where you see people get off and the courts letting certain people off when clearly that should not be the case. But yeah. I mean, it makes for a good movie until it happens in every single movie. Yeah, we're going to look her up when this is over, chat. Because I really don't know what happened to her. I hope she didn't pass away young or something like that. Oh no, don't hurt the puppy. No, don't hurt the puppy. Oh no. Boo! Oh no. They've gone too far, chat. No forgiveness. It's John Wick time. It's John Wick time. It was one thing when it was his best friend. It was one thing when they almost, got his daughter. But then they took out the dog. The gun is mightier than the dog. I hate to... Truth. The message? All you did was piss him off. What message were you planning to send to come get me? To come chase you? Was the message you were sending that you wanted him to show up? Oh. Man, not the puppy. No. It's incredible we had Chuck Norris's John Wick. That's right. That's right. John Wick was Chuck Norris at home. Change my mind. I borrowed one of your shirts. I hope you don't mind. Oh, I didn't know she was like banged up that much. Where they were pushing her around. I guess so. Eastwood Hospital. I wonder. I've said, chat, that this feels like it has a spaghetti western feel to it. I wonder if they didn't purposely do Eastwood Hospital because of that. Well, it might be best for you to go to Las Cruces now. Oh. Oh, and sorry about your boyfriend and all. But to Chuck Norris's credit, he's not much of an actor, but he is able to really emote well, even without emoting. I mean, he doesn't have a full range of expressions, but it's almost like the Charles Bronson stuff. He's just got that look where the eyes themselves can tell a story sometimes. Well, boy, I can't imagine why. Well, that was an unfortunate phrase. I really hope that was ad-libbed and wasn't written in the script. I'll feel better if it was ad-libbed. He ad-libbed it because the script was probably fair. Probably. Oh, yeah, probably. If they even add anything scripted in that part, just say something. Yep. And now they spotted you flying low. What's going on? Didn't you hear the airplane? It's been a while since I heard the heard Candy asked. And this is pre The Rock. Sag, no one uses Candy assing. Yeah, I feel like that one shouldn't be lost. We need to break. Let's make that great again. Make Candy asses great again. Oh, that's unfortunate. Sweet butted Yes, we prefer to be called sweet butted persons. Thank you. Yes, he has a tank. I say you let him go in. Don't hold him back. Just let him go on. He thinks he's got this. Let him go. Blink, 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 blink. I'm saying it again. I love this score. In fact, when this is over, I'm going to check Screen Archives probably too and see if you can still get the score. If you're ever looking for music scores, Screen Archives Entertainment is usually a pretty great place to find them. I always have a habit of adding them to my cart and then never making a purchase. Because I'm cheap. I mean, they're not insanely overpriced. I'm just, always cheap. Because I ask myself, how much am I going to listen to it? Years ago, I would have. I used to listen to movie scores all the time when I would be reading at one of my previous jobs. Had a lot of downtime. He is definitely the sharpest knife in the drawer. Oops. Chuck Norris getting hit by a bullet? Is that possible? Clearly, he didn't negotiate his contract right on this one. Well, this is definitely not reality accurate, because Chuck Norris would have already like spun around just with the power of sheer will and kicked them all away by now. Early Chuck Norris used to pretend he was just a regular human. Probably, yep. I'm gonna say yep. He's got to give them a chance so they feel important. Oh. 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 Oh, wow. He has the fancy kick. Yeah. 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 Like I said, I think David Carradine wanted to prove he was the better martial artist. I think there was a chip on his shoulder, I think, because of Kung Fu, because he was always, sort of like, well, it was supposed to be Bruce Lee. It shouldn't have been you. It was supposed to be Bruce Lee. I think he did have a chip on his shoulder. Or it was the alcohol talking, one of the two. Okay, I guess he wants a trophy. And he's back asleep. Because, I mentioned earlier, David Carradine did a movie called Circle of Iron, which was it was a Bruce Lee script that never got made. And it's an odd movie. It's not really martial artsy. There's some martial arts sequences in it, but not a ton. I mean, David Carradine does a great job, but definitely wasn't Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris. It's so sad about Carradine, how he went. That's one. As much as I say it's hard to believe with Chuck Norris and his recent passing, the David Carradine passing and how that went down was really, really hard to believe. I was about to say really hard to swallow, but that would have been unfortunate. Yeah. Oops. By the power of beer. Toughest one for me was Brandon Lee was nuts. Yeah. That was, yeah. Especially when you look at, I love this. By the power, he's getting his beer recharge. Yeah, Brandon Lee, yeah. Especially because it was the same way that Bruce Lee's character was taken out in Game of Death. The movie Game of Death has halfway through the movie, Bruce Lee's character, the fake Bruce Lee character, gets shot by what's supposed to be a blank during the making of a movie. American power. That's right. Seriously, what is more American power than big truck, beer, and Chuck Norris? Exactly. Oh. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. All three sulking because they got beaten by David Carradine. Yeah, but that's very true, Luciano. Worst part of the Brandon Lee thing is Steven Seagal trying to take credit for like knowing how it happened. You check that gun, you'll find a bullet. You gotta find there was a bullet, not a blank. Speaking of movie shootings, what happened to Alec Baldwin? Nothing. Nothing. I think there's still a civil trial, but the criminal charges were all dismissed. So he's back to making direct-to-video, direct-to-streaming junk. Good idea. Tear your house down. Oh, yeah, the John Wick's coming out. But it wasn't Alec Baldwin who did it, you know. It was the trigger. It wasn't him. It was his finger. As I've heard said elsewhere, Alec Baldwin's finger never misses. And that movie finally got released too. I don't know anything about it, but I think it's available for streaming, that Rust or whatever it was called. But the munitions person did face jail time. The one who was supposed to be checking the guns and everything, but I mean, he should have been checking it. I don't know. I don't want to go down that road again, but it just, yeah. Oh dear. Huh. Hmm. Well, you should have already known that. Yeah. Uh-huh. I don't know if you want to. Yeah, I don't know if you really want to try to make this deal, dude. Because I have a feeling the assets were stolen to begin with, buddy. Oh, it's such a classic shot. I mean, it's so cliche, but it's such a perfect shot. But we're partners, man. Come on, man. I love that dog too, you know? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it only chased him off the property. Oh, little baby horse. Oh, you little piggy. God protect. I was about to say it's like they're putting flowers on his truck for a funeral or something. Everyone's showing up to worship Chuck Norris. That's awful. I shouldn't even joke about that. Okay, but what about your other buddy? So you left the one, but you were okay meeting up with him. So the two that are injured are okay doing this, but the one who was unharmed. Oh, there we go. Oh man, okay. I shouldn't love that joke, and yet I do. Back when you could joke about things, I miss being able to joke about things. This is the moment when the director, you know what this movie needs? We're missing a mountain climbing scene. They had those in James Bond. We need a mountain climbing scene. And crossing a river. Okay, so we need yeah. I make fun, but I do love this movie. Oh, I would have noticed the sound of the scream, but that's just me. Well, I'm a prisoner. Aw. I just love it. Yeah. I just love his David Carradine's menacing sweater look he's got going on. I honestly, and I mean that in all seriousness, his character that is the most unimposing look you can ever have for a villain, and because of that, I think it's actually kind of brilliant. And I don't know if that was by design or just kind of happened. Third time viewing this movie, still yeah. I want to say this is like probably my fourth. It's probably my fourth. No. Yeah, no, it would be my fourth. Oh. There we go. Ba-dum-bum. That reminds me, I've had a Blu-ray for a while I need to watch. It's a Vietnam War, I guess a poor man's Rambo movie called POW starring David Carradine. It was a Canon film I picked up a while back that I have never watched. Because nothing says, you know, poor man's Rambo quite like David Carradine. Or I guess a poor man's missing in action, you could say. Oh, no. Well, at least he's alive. Whee! I was about to say, I'd expect the caterpillar to win against that. Like, just because the angle on the on that front loader, if that's what they're called. And he forgot to pull the pin. Oh! Try again. I kind of miss, that's something I miss. I miss movies like this not being gruesome. I mean, even though it's not true to reality, I miss things like, you know, nowadays, you know, grenade goes off and you see body parts fly over all the CG blood and gore. Whereas back then it was just, you know, the people lie down. And I kind of prefer that, even if it isn't anywhere true to life. Well, it's a bit of a stalemate. Love propane explosion grenades that cause people to jump themselves in there. Yeah, yep, the springboards. And grenades do not actually tear you to pieces unless you really are. Really? Okay, I didn't know that. That I didn't know. I've never been near one. But that makes sense. But yeah, anymore, it's, you know, the body part, what kills you is the shrapnel. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And see, anymore, a grenade goes off and it's like Kill Bill. Oh, organ music. Nothing's. I love that too. The way David Carradine did there was a lot. It was almost like he was like copying a Bruce Lee look. The way he did his head. Yeah, I do feel like I said before, I felt like this fight scene, he was really trying to make it Even though you know he's going to be the one who loses. It did feel like he was trying to show he was the superior one. I really would have loved to have seen a Blu-ray or a DVD with interviews with both Chuck Norris and David Carradine on this. I would have loved to have heard their thoughts. But yeah, Chuck Norris didn't do any special features that I know of, and of course... Well, no, I don't know why they wouldn't have interviewed David Carradine. Maybe there's some history in this movie where he didn't want to. Maybe he had a bad time. I don't know. I never heard anything, but because I know, like I said earlier, I know there are interviews with L.Q. Jones and Robert Beltran. Oh! Now you do not hit the young woman. Well, I mean, in fairness, she was attacking, but boom! Yeah. You woke him up. One hit to the daughter, you woke him up. Thwack. Nobody hits my daughter but me now! Maybe you should make sure maybe you should just... Oh, I forgot that. I forgot this. Wow, so daughter, dog, best friend, and her husband. That's the body count of doom. At this point, you will never shake Chuck Norris from your tail. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. One grenade's all it's gonna take. Whee! Well, there we go. In this case, I don't think it was the shrapnel. Oh, I miss explosions like that without CG touch-ups. Oh, good, the cavalry's here. Well, that's a good-looking shot with the smoke circling like that. That was a good-looking shot. Oof. He can dodge bullets without even trying. No kidding. The bullets, Megs, the bullets dodge Chuck Norris. Sure he can. Well then. It's so random. It's so random having him fly in there and then just getting left. I just... of course. Got to get his PR. Ah, what a sleaze. You know, she sure is cheerful for everything she's gone through. I mean, he lost his, you know, future ex-wife, and she lost her boyfriend, and he's just like, great, let's go see the new house. I love it. Like real hostages? Can we keep them? See, and you look at this ending right here, and it really even feels... I mean, because like I said, Walker was inspired by this, but an ending like this would have been a perfect TV ending, you know, ending the pilot episode. Oh, that music. An 1818 production. I don't know if they ever did anything else. I don't know anything about them. I love this movie. I love this movie. I love the music, and I love the casting. I know I've said it a lot, but to me, the Chuck Norris versus David Carradine thing was an inspired decision. Whoever decided that for this, it makes me sad this movie doesn't get more attention. Everyone always talks missing in action when they talk Chuck Norris. They talk Walker or they talk missing in action. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Wow. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to look up Barbara Carrera in a minute, and I am going to look up the soundtrack album in a minute before we end this, just because I want to see if you can still get it, and see what the price is. And then we'll do a proper wrap-up. But thank you to everyone who chose to watch this today. Sorry for everyone who were in different territories where you had to use a VPN or weren't able to watch. I hate to say it is what it is. It's one of those unfortunate things with watch-alongs that the only way for me to avoid it is to do a watch-along on a separate site outside of YouTube where I'd be able to actually show it. But I like to do these things on YouTube where anyone can watch beyond our community. If they choose, it's okay. You're still here, Siren Bless. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh. Now I feel worse. Oh, I do love that music. Assistant to Mr. Carradine, you know, he could have used an assistant that last night, you know, when everything happened. He could have had someone, he could have used someone there saying, "Hey, you don't do that." 1983. Wow. Oh wow. Okay. Oh my gosh, so this movie is wow, that is wow. Okay, so let me think this through. So that means this movie is Listen to the Road Bunny. No, I'm not a road bunny. Let me go to the browser real quick. Okay. Why is that? Oh. I don't know what that was. Or at least what I was getting. Okay, let me turn the BGM back on. Actually, I'm gonna switch it to a different window real quick. I don't like this one. I like this one for doing some stuff, but not as much. Let me just do a fade into that. Okay. As I was only listening to you talk, the best part was you getting grossed out about the mud. Oh my gosh, I already forgot about the mud. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me see. Where should I pull it? Okay, Barbara Carrera. Let's pull her up. We'll just do... I'm not a big Wikipedia fan, but we'll do the Wikipedia. Okay. Barbara Carrera. Yeah, model and actress. Okay. I knew she was... okay, she is still around. I knew she was an I thought she was a model. Okay, Barbara Kingsbury Carrera is a Nicaraguan-born American retired actress, model, and painter. Two-time Golden Globe nominee, New Star of the Year actress for The Master Gunfighter, 1975. Never heard of that. Best Supporting Actress for the James Bond film Never Say Never Again. Never. St. Carlos. At the age of 10, moved to the U.S. to live with her father. Moved to New York at 15. Model at the Olympic. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. And 3 marriages, 3 divorces. Still around, but she last was active, I guess, in 2004. So it's been a minute. All right, let me look up Screen Archives Entertainment. I'll probably have to DuckDuckGo that. Just do a little DuckDuckGo Screen Archives. I'm just glad she's still around. Screen Archives Entertainment. It's a good site if you want to find movie soundtracks on CD, chat. Let's see if they got Lone Wolf McQuade. Lone Wolf, probably not. It's probably out of print now. Yeah, it's out of print now. Let me see if there's anywhere still to get Lone Wolf McQuade OST CD. All right, how much is on eBay? I'm not gonna do the Amazon thing because it always turns out bad for me. Discogs, okay. There we go. The CDs, okay, what? Brand new for $50. At least they're brand new copies. But there was a CD album. Okay, there was a soundtrack at some point. I was right about that. Francesco De Masi. Okay. There. Well, yeah. So there, that answers my question. But yeah, Screen Archives chat, great site to find movie soundtracks. In fact, just out of curiosity. Oh, they got, that's Trek. Just out of curiosity. Okay, they do still have the... Man, they still haven't sold out of that. The limited to 10,000 copies Star Trek The Motion Picture limited edition, which is a great album. Still got the... that's the crappy edition of Star Trek 2. Do they still have... Okay, they've still got the expanded of Star Trek 5. That's nice. I guess that's it. They don't, a lot of them are out of print. That's interesting. I didn't know so many of them were out of print. Okay. Oh, wait. No, yeah, just page 1. 1 of 1. Okay. Okay, here, let's go ahead and go back to the library chat and wrap things up right there. Door transition. Well, that was Lone Wolf McQuade. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Those of you who were able to watch, I know I already said that, I'll say it again. Thank you for spending this Friday with me. Next Friday, chat, we will be doing not a watch-along. I mean, technically, not a movie watch-along. Fun time. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, Megs, appreciate you being here as always. That goes for everyone. Just a reminder, next Friday, we'll be doing the thing with the Shy Siren. So, that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Yay, need more chill movies where the gun wins and explosion goes off. Yeah, so chill. So chill. Everything blowing up, so chill. I need to, hopefully future ones, though, I'll be able to make sure we get ones that we can get on archive.org so that everyone can watch. Because it is unfortunate when things are region locked. I hate that. So we'll be doing that next Friday, and just to go through the rest of the schedule for next week, I won't be streaming tomorrow. I won't be streaming Sunday. Monday, we'll be doing Adventure Island 2 on the mighty NES. Tuesday, we will be doing Batten Kaitos, more of it, and I forgot to get my thumbnail ready for it. I just need to change it from part 12 to part 13. Wednesday is the full moon. We'll be doing Super Seducer. Thursday, more Sam & Max, the next 2 episodes of Sam & Max Season 1. And then Friday, as I said, yapping is for the burbs with the Shy Siren. So yeah, that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Let's end the poll. We know Chuck Norris won the poll. Wilford Brimley came in second, and Charles Bronson came in third. That's interesting, but might be a smart choice because Wilford Brimley was a former Marine. That's one of the things, you know, people used to make fun in The Thing because he takes so many hits and he just keeps going in The Thing. There's a scene in The Thing where he's like kind of going nuts and everyone's trying to subdue him and they can't knock him down. But that was probably true to life because Wilford Brimley, he was, like I said, ex-Marine, legitimately probably a tough guy with that old man's strength, for lack of a better way to put it. You know, the strength that older guys, a lot of older guys have, where they don't look it, but they could crush you. Yeah, that's just, that probably sounded weird for me. I don't know why. I keep thinking it sounded weird. Oh boy, should we do a raid, chat? I think we should do a raid. Let's see who's on. Let's see who's on Friday night, 11:37 Eastern Daylight Time. Who is on tonight? Stream settings. Edit. Customization. Redirect. Okay. Catherine Sarathba, we just raided into her recently. Mao. Oh gosh, we haven't raided. Man. Here's a flashback for you. I remember when we raided into Mao channel. She's a young streamer, young indie streamer. I remember we raided into her when she first started, and she was doing some sort. She was asleep. We basically raided in when she was asleep and didn't realize it. Maybe we'll do her. Let's see who else. Mubini Ido, Veronica Hex, Evie's on. Oh, it's always tempting to raid into Evie. Kendra, Lulu. Another Lulu Lasso. Someday we'll raid into there probably. Margaret Ferret. Man, too many nerds on tonight. Too many nerds. Oh, and someone new. There is someone new on. There is a new VTuber, new mod. All right, I'm gonna see who this person is. And Neko's on, but we just raided Neko last night. Let me see who this is, chat. We might raid into someone brand new. Let me see. I don't think we've ever... Oh, yeah, we've raided into Neopal before, haven't we? I think so. Didn't we? I don't know. I don't know if we did or not, but chat, I think we're going to raid into New Pal. It looks like she's designing a new VTuber thing. Yeah, we've raided her before. We've raided her before. Let me just see real quick. Let me make sure I'm not missing anyone. Too many people on. Too many people on. Too many people on. I wish I could raid all the nerds. You know what? Actually, let me pull up Mao. Let me see what she's doing real quick. Let me pull up Mao and see what she's doing real quick, since we haven't raided into her. Because it's a tough choice. It's a tough choice. I'd like to raid into someone I don't usually raid into, or I don't usually get the chance to raid into. Oh no, she just ended. She just ended 1 minute ago, so that makes it easy. All right, there we go. There's my answer for me. It decided for me, chat. It decided, raid all the nerds. It decided for me. The nerds decided for me. I was going to raid into Mao because we haven't forever, and she just ended. Who the heck is this? Hold on, I got someone else new. I got someone else new on here. Someone else new. Let me look them up real quick. Okay, we'll raid into this okay, I've heard of this person before. We'll raid into them later. We're gonna do a Neopal. We are going to, I know we've raided her before at some point. I'm sure of it. Where'd it go? Where'd she go? There it is. Boom, boom. Okay, raided, raid message is going to be, let's see, you know what? I'm just gonna do an ultra deluxe tonight. I was thinking about doing a Chuck Norrisy one, but it might get lost somehow. I just feel like maybe it will be like, what does that mean? Ultra deluxe back library raid. There we go. We'll just do an ultra deluxe back library raid, chat. Okay. So, that being said, thank you everyone for watching tonight, and those of you who weren't able to watch the movie, thank you still for choosing to hang out. Thank you, Omegs. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Luciano. Thank you, The Shy Siren. Thank you, Twin Opinion. Thank you, David Romig. Thank you, Mahese. Let's see, who else was here? Let's go up the list. Judd, thank you. Agnes Booth was here. And that might be it, I think. I'm not sure. And Daylin, I know Daylin stopped in for a moment. And anyone else who was watching tonight, thank you for watching. VOD watchers, thank you for watching the VOD. Lurkers, thank you for lurking. We're going to do a raid. You don't have to go home, chat, but, you can't stay here.